Hello, everyone out there in the Yesshift and I guess Drum Talk TV audience. I'm Steven Schinder, going live with a Yesshift News Desk edition. There's quite a bit of news that's come out this past month. This is basically a September catch up type of thing, but there's also stuff still coming up that's going to be released. Yes, Singles 2 was announced. There are a couple tours that finished, and Bill Bruford playing gigs. What? Have you heard about this? And 40 years since 9012 Live was filmed. That's a lot to talk about here. Yeah, sorry. I don't know if you heard that, but that was me checking to make sure the broadcast audio was great. I feel like I always got to do that just because I'm so paranoid that something will sound not as good. But yeah, everything sounds great and there's quite a bit to cover, which I think I'll manage to do within maybe a half hour, give or take. But yeah, we'll just jump right into it. So first off, I want to give a shout out to my friend's band. So this includes my friends Keon and Derek, and also their bandmates Hayden and Luis. This is Fake Band Practice. They're an indie band. They just put out an EP called I'm Out of My Mind, which I will show you the cover of right now. And this cover image for the EP is very memorable. I think it's really cool, very colorful, and you should be seeing it if you're watching the video now. So yeah, he got the cat there with the green laser eyes and the paper buildings with colorful scribbles. So the EP is called I'm Out of My Mind, and you can also see a UFO there in the corner. I think that's what it is. But yeah, it's on Spotify and Apple Music now. It's about 15 minutes long and really fun stuff. I think Movie Star Girl, for me, is still the biggest earworm on the EP. But yeah, there's really fun stuff on this album. It's very energetic, and yeah, go check it out. Um, it's not too much of a time investment, and it's always great to discover new music, right? I mean, that's what we like to do. We like talking about the old music that we grew accustomed to and the new music that those artists put out. But we also like talking about music from bands that you may not have heard of. And in this case, the connection is that I know them. So there you go. All right. Yeah. So that came out earlier this month. And yeah, go check it out. All right. So now for proper Yes related news. Steve Howe's Guitarscape finally came out yesterday. Today is the 28th of September. So this came out on the 27th, of course. And Dad and I reviewed this a couple weeks ago. So earlier this month. And we had great things to say about it. And yeah, we definitely recommend this album. It's also got Dylan Howe on drums, and love the photograph on the cover of this. And yeah, it's great when they're able to put out stuff in between the Yes releases and touring. Keeping the portfolio varied and whatnot. Um, and speaking of touring. Yes, just finished touring Japan. They did a few Japan dates. And after the Deep Purple tour, I believe, there was a nice post thanking the crew that helps Yes get all the stuff together in the live setting. So I thought that was really sweet. And after the Japan shows, I saw a post from Billy Sherwood saying, how much of a great time it was. And if you want to see the set list, you can go to forgottenyesterdays.com. It is, and again, there's like a dash between Forgotten and Yesterdays, just so you know. And the set list, it's the classic Tales of Yes tour. So it's very much that set list. And yeah, looking forward to whatever else Yes is able to do. Steve Howe said within the last couple months in an interview that I saw that, and I think another one that I listened to, that they are writing the next Yes album. So, I'm always excited to hear, what's the next new Yes album gonna sound like, because you can't like fully predict these things. And yeah, and I guess that'll some of that will have to, maybe they're already developing some stuff now, and maybe some of it will happen after John Davison's tour with John Lodge. And yeah, yesterday I believe some dates for John Lodge's upcoming tour were announced. So I'll go ahead and uh, basically skim/paraphrase through the info here. So the Moody Blues' John Lodge performs Days of Future Past, playing the iconic album in its entirety, plus a selection of classic hits. So these shows are happening in November. Following the critically acclaimed and sold out shows earlier this year, John is continuing in his celebration of the Moody Blues music and the iconic Days of Future Past, and is delighted to be bringing his show to new audiences in the USA. The short run will start in Clarksburg on November 12th and end in Royal Oak on November 19th. And the tour will then recommence in February 2025. All dates go on sale. Okay, that was yesterday. And special VIP packages are available that include a special personalized hello video from John Lodge, together with the limited edition merchandise and a great seat. I'm just skimming through this. Performs Days of Future Past encompasses a first set of Moody's classics featuring fan favorites such as Isn't Life Strange, Legend of a Mind, I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band, and Ride My Seesaw. The second set sees John Lodge and his rocking band perform Days of Future Past in full symphonic splendor and with incredible renditions of Nights in White Satin and Tuesday Afternoon. The show also includes mesmerizing video to create a fully immersive experience as John and his band take the audience on a journey back in time. John's stories, the incredible vocal harmonies, a passionate musicianship, and loving recreation of this groundbreaking album all wrap around the listener, creating Moody's magic that stays with them for long after the music fades. Let's see. Some of the Moody's most loved songs were composed and sung by John, such as Isn't Life Strange and Ride My Seesaw, and these are brought into the show with a new passion by John and his band. He also performs his heartfelt renditions of songs written by Mike Pinder and Ray Thomas. Graham Edge appears on screen for a very special video, reciting his poems, Morning Glory and Late Lament. And to complete this special evening, John Davison of Yes performs Nights in White Satin Tuesday Afternoon and other classic Hayward penned hits. John has been the lead singer of Yes since 2012 and brings his soaring vocals and passion to those classic songs. John is also John Lodge's son-in-law, and seeing them together on stage gives a glimpse into their deep friendship. So just looking at these dates, let's see, November 12th at the Robinson Grant Performing Arts Center in Clarksburg, West Virginia. November 14th, Historic Park Theater and Event Center in Cranston, Rhode Island. November 15th, Bergen Performing Arts Center in Englewood, New Jersey. November 17th, Temple Live at Columbus Athenaeum in Columbus, Ohio. And then concluding with November 19th, Royal Oak Music Theater at Royal Oak. I believe that's, is that Missouri? Or it's not Minnesota, right? Well, you can figure it out. Yeah, I live in the US and I don't have every single abbreviation memorized, most of them, but All right. So speaking of touring, John Anderson and the Band Geeks completed their most recent leg of their tour just yesterday. And we're actually having Andy Ascalese and John Anderson on the show, 2 separate days. So Andy will be on for Drum Talk TV interview on October 5th. So that's next Saturday. And that is, yeah, at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK time. So that'll be a really cool interview. And of course, simulcast on Drum Talk TV and Yesshift. And then John Anderson will be on Tuesday, October 8th, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK time. I had to do the math in my head just now. So that's why, yeah. So yeah, that's very exciting and lots of great stuff. I've seen a lot of discourse about the True album and some interesting opinions. So, and Dad's been listening to it on repeat, and yeah, I still, it's been a bit of a while since my last listen, but bits of the album still echo in my mind. So there's staying power. I see we have a couple of comments here. David Prince on Facebook says, watching from Draycott in Somerset, England. Let's see. John C says, is Jeff Downes on Chris Braide's album? I have not read that he is, but yeah, I was going to talk about that album later, because I have listened to it, but while I was working on stuff and listening intently, but it didn't occur to me that maybe the credits to this are like online, and yeah, so I'll go ahead and look into that as I get closer to it in this news desk report. It's further down on the list of topics I have in front of me. But yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know why that possibility didn't occur to me. Just been having a lot of stuff going on, but yeah. So I think last time I did a news episode, I believe I mentioned that there were these re-releases of ABWH and Union. So those happened on September 4th and from Sony Music Japan. And the ABWH one on red vinyl, I read up on this on Bondigezu for context. Henry Potts' site has a lot of nice up-to-date information. So the 3 bonus tracks on that were apparently a live version of Birthright, and then Vultures in the City, and then the remix single version of I'm Alive, while the Union one on blue vinyl had 2 bonus tracks, Give and Take, and the radio edit of Lift Me Up that has the a cappella opening. But speaking of new releases, there's something coming out from Rhino, and it is Yes Singles 2. So some of you may remember not too long ago, there was the Yes Singles release, and people were sort of baffled by the idea of it. Now, as a reminder of what my thoughts on the concept are, for years and years and years, I've always thought that having a release titled Yes Singles, like it's just a no-brainer to have something with that title and have like a collection of all the single edits and versions that have come out from Yes over the years. So I feel like something like that was inevitable. It's really surprising that it took so long for something like that. But yeah, people weren't that into the cover of the first one, of the first Yes Singles. And, I can kind of get it. I feel like maybe they were going through an 80s throwback type thing. I thought it was kind of clever that the squares spell out yes, but it's like really subtle. I think for the new one though, and I don't know how far in advance this was designed, this Yes Singles 2 cover, So I don't know if they took, the people who put these together. I don't know if they took into account the feedback from fans or if this was just always going to look like this. But I quite like this one. It's the Yes balloon logo in yellow. We're so used to seeing it in red or maybe like reddish orange, and I quite like the blue shadow on the letters and how it's against a black background with some diagonal blue and purple lines all over. And the LP, the record is a blue splatter record. And I think it looks really cool. So, um, aesthetically, I think this has a lot going for it aesthetically. But let me read off the tracks that are on this. Something's Coming, single mix. Sweetness, mono edit. Looking Around, single edit. Sweet Dreams, single version. So all of those are Banks era. So I think that really justifies having the balloon logo on here. But then after that, you get further into the band's timeline. So going for the one, single edit. It Can Happen, single edit. Rhythm of Love, single edit. Love Will Find a Way, single edit. And Make It Easy, edit. Yeah, so I'm guessing the Make It Easy one was a single edit that came out around the time of Yes Years, when that song was finally officially released. But yeah, I think this looks nice. I am intrigued by the track list. There might be a couple of these that aren't on anything I have. The single versions of, I would say the first four, actually, yeah, I think most of, if not all of these, are not on the 2003, 2004 Rhino remasters. So these might be new to me if I were to listen to them, but I'm not sure, how big of a priority it is for me to, add this to my collection. But yeah, I'm very curious. Like, I'd be curious to hear from people who are the audience from this, and like if they listen to it, like what they think of it. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and switch up to the next item. So apparently, Yes Speak got a re-release. The documentary that came out around the time of the band's 35th anniversary, and this comes from Gonzo Multimedia. So they've been involved with a lot of Yes releases and re-releases, I should say. And this was a documentary that was narrated by Roger Daltrey, and I talked a bit about it earlier this year in January. Wow, was that long ago? Like 8 months ago, I talked about this. Dang, this year has gone by super, super fast. But yeah, from what I understand, this is just the documentary double DVD digipack. So just skimming the description of this on the product listing. So this came out earlier this month, or within the past month, I believe. Let's see, 2-disc set, 169-minute documentary, divided into 10 chapters, archive material and glimpses of the 2003 tour. This is very much a documentary, not a concert on the DVD. Yes Speak comes as a 2-disc set. Let's see. Features highlights from Siberian True, Magnification, Don't Kill the Whale, We Have Heaven, South Side of the Sky, and You and I, To Be Over, Show Me, Heart of the Sunrise, Long Distance Turnaround, The Fish, Awaken, I've Seen All Good People, Roundabout, Yours Is a Disgrace, and No Opportunity Necessary, No Experience Needed. I'm guessing that, if I remember correctly, might have been archive footage from that Beat Club broadcast. But yeah, when this was announced, it got me curious. So, like, why not include the director's cut release? Because back in 2008, so 4 years after Yes Speak originally came out, they released the Birmingham and Glastonbury concert. Those two concerts as a DVD called Yes, the Director's Cut. It seemed like it was for the band's 40th anniversary. And for whatever reason, I never got around to acquiring that. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious, like, why wasn't that included in a bundle with this and maybe Yes Acoustic? Or is it possible that each of these are getting separate re-releases and maybe they're spacing them out so that it doesn't hurt people's wallets too much at once? Like, I don't know. But this is 1460 US dollars. Um, so yeah, I guess it's not too out, like, it's pretty standard. So if you haven't gotten this in your collection and you want it, it's there. And yeah, Yes Singles 2 comes out October 25th, which is John Anderson's birthday, funny enough. All right. So speaking of Yes videos, like I mentioned, today is well, I guess today and possibly tomorrow, because the shows in Edmonton 1984 were filmed back to back those dates. But something I read said that today was when most, if not all of it, was shot. But so 40 years since the 9012 Live concert film was filmed. And I've got my DVD here. This is a director's cut DVD that came out in 2006. So you get the version that has the 50s stock footage that was on there for some reason, but you also get the version where the stock footage is cut out and you get the concert, and you also get the version of Roundabout, which has the middle part cut out, that's how it was in that era, and also a weird ending that doesn't feel real and kind of feels like maybe it was edited to be how it is. Like, I don't know what the story is behind that version of Roundabout. But yeah, 40 years since 9012 Live, when it was filmed anyway. And, Dad and I have talked about that video from time to time, but so you may have heard this already, but this was very much my Yes that I got into when I was very little. Apparently wore out the 9012 Live VHS tape. But yeah, I was very much into the Rabin Yes, and Owner of a Lonely Heart was my favorite Yes song at the time. Of course, that's changed drastically since then. But yeah, 9012 Live got me into Yes Years. Those segments on Yes Years would be like my favorite part. And then it was just a nice gateway into the world of Yes, and a nice time capsule of how things were like, the outfits I would wear, the doctor outfit Chris wore, and I would sort of emulate the band, put on a blanket as a cape and play with a toy guitar type thing. John C asks, Yes Singles 2 vinyl only? I believe it might be. I only saw a vinyl on the Rhino Rhino listing, but yeah, if there is like a legitimate CD version, then people can just, let me know if you see that anywhere. John also says fake band practice should tour with the band geeks. I mean, that would be cool, because I would see, because I know both bands, and it would be such a cool, such different bands, but it would be such a cool night seeing those different bands together. All right, so, but yeah, 9012 Live, we got Rabin, K, Anderson, Squire, White. Bella Lugrisi says, wonderful Rhino Vino. Yeah. And again, this video includes Cinema, Leave It, Hold On, I've Seen All Good People, Changes, Owner of a Lonely Heart, It Can Happen, City of Love, Starship Trooper, and like I said, Roundabout. And there were other songs that were performed but didn't make it onto the video. So I'm not sure what the story is there. Maybe I don't know, maybe they weren't quite happy with those. I mean, if they put them those nights, because I know they played And You and I and maybe a couple other things on that tour, but overall, the way that it's shot, it feels, if you go from Yes songs, we talked about how we kind of like the mystique of, how all the shadows and stuff, but cinematically, I think it does feel like a step up from Yes songs. The technology has improved, the sound is better and more clear. So it's very fascinating, thinking about the evolution of all that. And this was a tour that brought in new Yes fans, and some of them are still following Yes today. So I have a lot of affection and admiration for the 9012 live video. So yeah, I don't know what else I can say that I haven't said. When I listen to Changes, any version of Changes during the "For some reason you're questioning what," I always think of the split screen effect. Or I think also for Leave It, there was a split screen effect. There definitely was one for Leave It, but yeah, whenever watching the Yes Years documentary, I would get so pumped when it begins with an excerpt of Leave It. Oh, wow. I'm almost at a half hour. So I guess this might go for maybe a little less than an hour, perhaps. But yeah, very great concert. Starship Trooper, the intro and how it segues from City of Love, and how Chris helps out John when he's like losing his breath when he says follow, and just how how they work together there, and seeing the chemistry. Rape Squire and Rabin facing off with their guitar and bass. It's so cool. I don't know how else to put it. And the stage design, um, you know, it just really fits that era, I guess, that aesthetic. All right, so moving forward, there have been quite a few recent and upcoming releases, which I saw were available on Cherry Red Records as I looked into them. So one of these is sort of a prog rock collection. Let me pull up the image for it, if I can find the right one. So this is called Ring the Bells. It came out at the end of August. And okay, yeah, there we go. So this is Ring the Bells, Progressive Sounds of 1975. As far as Yes connections, includes the single version of Soon, and it also includes Lucky Seven from Chris Squire's Fish Out of Water. And he got stuff from other artists, like there's something from Steve Hackett, something from Vandergriff Generator. And I'm really curious, like, how are the sales for these types of collections? Because when it comes to, um, the prog rock audience, like, what percent of them goes for these collections? It's something I'm kind of curious about. I see Jayhawk saying, "Hey, brother, it's Jayhawk from Virginia. Good going." Yeah. All right. Thanks for tuning in, Jay. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of an odd little thing that I read up on. So also from Cherry Red, I saw something else. Yeah, so recently on the Roger Dean themed episode, where Dad and I were talking about some Roger Dean covers for different bands. One of the things we talked about was Green Slade. And I was seeing ads for this last good while about this Green Slade re-release. um Let me make sure that I can find that image. Okay, here it is. So I'll go ahead and pull it up, just one sec. And of course, Roger Dean did the cover for this Green Slade album back in the '70s, which is Bedside Manners. So I'll go ahead and present the cover of that. Okay, here's a window. All right, so yeah, Bedside Manners are extra. That's what it is. And yeah, this came out. This re-release came out just yesterday. Um, and I'm just looking at the listing right now. So there's a 12-inch vinyl edition, and it's remastered. Um, New remastered vinyl release of the classic 1973 album by Greenslade, remastered from the original master tapes, cut at Abbey Road Studios, reviews in Uncut, Mojo, Record Collector, Prog magazines, coverage on relevant websites and fanzines. Yeah, I'm seeing if they're okay. I don't see any bonus tracks, but yeah, it's interesting that they put this together. Yeah, I'm just looking at the description. Okay. So, yeah, if you're into Greenslade or you're curious about Greenslade, then this might be for you. And again, I really love that cover. It's very different from what you would see with Yes. But yeah, the green and the purple and the red, it's really cool. Speaking of Roger Dean, there was a Q&A that his daughter Freya conducted with him. I guess people sent in some questions and then they recorded a Q&A session. There are two parts of it, last I checked, and really informative stuff. And you can find all that on Roger Dean's Facebook and I believe Instagram. And he's always posting about different artworks and sketches and some stuff that becomes available for people to get. So definitely check out all of his stuff there. So another release, I believe I talked about this one already. Bill Bruford, The Best of Bill Bruford, The Winter Summerfold Years. And I'll go ahead and show the cover image of that again because it's really fantastic. John C says Greenslade equals great band. Yeah. So you got these drums that are made of these plants or tree things and a figure that looks like a mixture of a tree and a rock as they're drumming on these. So yeah, that comes out October. When was it? October. Yeah, I believe it's sometime in the middle of October. We'll just go to the October 18th. So not too far off. But yeah, this is a 35 track, 3 CD box set reissue of two long out of print albums that together call the best of drummer, composer, bandleader Bruford's recordings for the two labels. So yeah, if you go to Cherry Red Records, you can go ahead and check this out. But yeah, and I mentioned it at the top of the show. Bill Bruford seems to be doing some public gigs here and there. He's been, he performed with the Pete Roth trio. I think they've only done one show so far, and there are more to come. So I'm just opening the list of dates here. So yeah, there was one in Guilford, Growlers, and Cannes on September 18th. And then on October 11th, Kingston, X, Cellar, and Wine. October 15th, Lockswood, North Hall. And again, these are all in the UK, I'm pretty sure. November 1st, London Hampstead Jazz Club. November 17th, Pangbourne Working Men's Club. November 23rd, Windsor Old Court Art Space. November 27th, London 606 Club. And December 11th, Oxford The Spin Jazz Club. I'm looking at this article on Louder Sound, and it says here that the band used the phrase "jazz without borders" on their website claiming they create jazz for a new generation of music enthusiasts that look beyond the ordinary jazz conventions. The band go on to state some use qualifiers like near jazz, neo jazz, and stadium jazz to break out of the old man jazz straitjacket. Phrases like that act as trigger warnings that what the trio plays ain't always going to fit or be nice. The group's roots are firmly planted in popular music, but it seeks to expand the notion of what is acceptable or possible to do or represent within that genre. So really neat stuff there. And again, I think Bruford is oh, John C says, I saw that Bill Bruford came out of retirement. Yeah, so I feel like he's maybe picking and choosing his gigs. You know, he's not gonna do an extra long full-time thing with Yes or whatever. And you know, he declined to or I think I remember hearing he was asked to be part of Beat, you know, they're playing King Crimson music. I could be wrong, but you know, look that up. But yeah, he's not part of that, and they have been doing a lot of shows. They even added some news shows due to popular demand, which is great because that means that now I can see Beat in November. You know, just a few days within my birthday, basically. But yeah, it's cool that Bill is doing these, and you know that he's doing these because he wants to. I wouldn't want him to do something that he doesn't feel comfortable doing. And I remember seeing a post recently where he was part of this. I think it's Moon June. It was some sort of event, and a conversation where apparently he and someone else mentioned Azaf Circus, the drummer of Soft Machine, as a great drummer. And you know, I actually Dad interviewed Circus on Drum Talk TV last year, and I met him when I saw Soft Machine uh, this past summer. Excuse me. So, and you know, he is a great drummer. So it's cool that there's that little bit of, you know, they're aware of they're aware of him and whatnot. But yeah, and I think I also saw a post where Bill Bruford talked about the first Yes album. I don't know if that's from recently or a repost of something from a while ago, but yeah, always nice to revisit that first album. All right, so another thing that's gonna be available on Burning Shed, Cherry Red Records, and other places is Concentus, the John Wetton Live Collection, Volume 1. This comes out November 15th, and this is a 10 CD box set that celebrates the very best of John's solo live performances, all newly mastered by Andy Pierce. So let me go ahead and pull up the image for that. I believe I have it here. Yes, okay. And this is quite like it gives you a good oh, I see Bella Lugrisi says seeing Beat at the Beacon on October 5th, so psyched. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm sure that's gonna be a great time. I've heard great things about that. Okay, it's that window, and there you go. So there are the contents of the collection, as you can see in the image. It looks like there's it's a little box. It's got these these mini sleeves where you can slide them into the box. And I like the colors of these CDs, and yeah, so it's kind of tough for me to read the titles from here. So let me get to the product listing so I can read it properly. Okay, here we go. All right, and thanks again for like. I always appreciate like of the audience's patience and me like navigating to these things. But yeah, CD1 is Chasing the Dragon. CD2 is Acustica Live in America. CD3 is Live in Argentina on CD4 as well. CD5, Hazy Monet. CD6, Live in Osaka. CD7 is also Live in Osaka. And CDs 8 and 9 are Adama. And CD10 is Acoustic Cha. It's got CHA at the end. And also includes Prague Fest 1997 on that disc. Yeah, so this is really cool. And the fact that it has volume 1 in the title makes you wonder, like, are there plans for a volume 2? I think there was something else. Maybe it was also John Wetton related collection where it had a volume 1 in the title, and we wondered a while back, like, is there going to be a volume 2? So, really great that this is being put out. John Wetton's legacy keeps on living on. And speaking of all that, recently I saw that Harry Whitley, who's been singing for the new Asia lineup, he appeared on Prague Corner, and they each gave their 10, their top 10 Asia songs. And I won't spoil what his were, but I'll just say that his number one stellar choice. So go ahead and check that out after this if you haven't already. And yeah, it was a really great roundtable thing to watch. Oh, and yesterday I actually listened to Emerson, Lake and Palmer's "In the Hot Seat" because it was the 30th anniversary of that album, their final studio album. And I don't recall if I had ever listened to it from start to finish before, but I did yesterday. And apparently there were health issues during the making of it, and they weren't happy with the end result. And you can tell, like, with the result of it, because some of the material feels like, to me, like, other bands could have attempted this, whereas with the LP, I'm used to thinking of their strongest efforts. But I mean, their strongest efforts are always going to eclipse the things that don't quite live up anyway. The song Daddy sounded familiar. So maybe I'd heard that. And of course, it deals with a heavy subject matter. I think there may have been a little bit that from the material that may have been reworked for the Greg Lake and Jeff Downs release from 9-10 years ago, whenever that was. But yeah, like, it wasn't unlistenable to me, but it did feel like, more could have been done with it, substantially. But it is what it is, so I guess that's that. But we still have the strong ELP material that we remember them for. But something else I listened to, which we alluded to earlier, was Chris Braide's new album, There Was a Time, The Songs of Marc Bolan, which came out 10 days ago. So it's a heartfelt tribute to T-Rex frontman Marc Bolan. Braide's passion for Bolan's music began in the late 80s when he and his friend Thomo, is it Thomo or Tomo? Or Tomo, maybe, discovered Electric Warrior and became obsessed with the singer's unique voice, style, and songs. The 11-track album was released digitally on the 16th of September. Oh, okay. The anniversary of Mark's death and Chris's son Elijah's birth. The album is available now to stream and as a free download. So I gave this album a listen, and all cards on the table, I'm not super familiar with Marc Bolan, but the songs on this Chris Braide album, his tribute to him, they're very ballady, but I quite like ballads. Contrary to popular belief, maybe, I don't know, a prog rock fan can love some ballads. And so, yeah, it felt very emotional. And, I really liked this album and the production. Like, it felt like it was really well done. So I'm curious, like, how they compared to what the original versions of the songs may be. But yeah, I'm just trying to look for more info on the credits of this album. So with Braide playing most instruments, and Chris Braide plays most of the instruments, and he's joined by Ash Sohn on drums and Andy Hodge on bass. Okay, so I guess maybe Chris does the keys on this one. I don't see a mention of Downs, but yeah, I thought it was a very beautiful album. People should check it out whenever they can. And Bello Greasy says, just looked at a few tunes and it's fantastic. Steve Vai is channeling Fripp and Jeff Beck simultaneously. Okay. Yeah, going back to earlier. Yeah. Let's see. So, continuing on the, tribute mentions, Dave Kersner has announced the release, the upcoming release, I should say, of a Genesis tribute that he's been working on for quite a while. Let me just pull up the image for this. And it's called It, a celebration of the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. It's a 3 CD set. Let's see, where's the image? Okay, yeah, I do have it here. Okay, share. Time to share the window. Okay. So this is at sonicelements.bandcamp.com. And as you can see, it includes the likes of Francis Dunnery, Nick DiVirgilio, from Big Big Train, Fernando Perdomo, who also worked on a Yes tribute album with Kersner a while back, Billy Sherwood, I think we're familiar with him, and some other special guests. I'm just reading the description to see who else might be on this. Martin Levac from the Musical Box, Steve Rothery from Marillion, Lee Pomeroy from ELO and It Bites, and of course he played with ARW, Dan Hancock from Giraffe, plus additional guest musicians and a symphony orchestra recorded by Mark Hornsby and arranged by John Hinchy. Okay, so yeah, really all-star thing here. The deluxe edition is a 3 CD version that contains the full album The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, reimagined as if it was a symphonic film soundtrack combined with authentic 70s vintage rock instruments, including many of Tony Banks's actual keyboards now owned by Kersner. This is a cover album / tribute to the band Genesis and their concept album The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, released 50 years ago on November 22nd, 1974, with the original 5-man lineup of Peter Gabriel, Tony Banks, Steve Hackett, Mike Rutherford, and Phil Collins. Wow, 50 years. It's quite a while ago. So CD3 contains instrumental mixes, film score style ambient tracks, original music inspired by Genesis, and alternate versions of songs from The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, featuring additional guests such as Nad Sylvan, who of course plays with Steve Hackett's band, Randy McStein from Porcupine Tree, and who has played with Steven Wilson from there as well, and more. Okay, so it looks like there are advanced clips. It says it ships out on or around November 22nd, so that would be the 50th anniversary. Really cool that he was able to get all these people together and put this together. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at what the next item here is. So there is a post on Patrick Moraz's Facebook page. Greetings, friends. Patrick Moraz is thrilled to announce that he has been booked to appear at Progstock 2024. He is very excited to return after his wonderful experience at Progstock 2023. This year's festival will be held Friday, October 18th through Sunday, October 20th at the Williams Center in Rutherford, New Jersey. And Patrick will be performing Friday the 18th on the main stage in the Rivoli Theater. He will be present at the festival all weekend to meet his friends and fans. For Progstock tickets and more information, please visit the festival website at progstock.com/2024. Yeah, last year they broadcasted Mraz's performance via Stage It, and he's got it. Like it's it was really cool seeing him play there, and I'm glad that he's still doing this. That's yeah. I'm just trying to look for something else. But yeah, I hope they broadcast that again. But if people are able to make it there in person as well, like you're in for a treat. And speaking of prog rock events, occasionally I've provided updates on additions to the Cruise to the Edge roster. The two most recent ones were Alex Skolnick Trio and Jazz Sabbath. I don't quite remember if we mentioned Cruise to the Edge when we interviewed Adam Wakeman about Jazz Sabbath, but yeah, that's happening next year, and so you'll have both Adam and Rick there. So it makes me kind of wonder: are they going to do like some sort of duet type thing? Maybe it could happen. It can happen. So yeah, and check out the Jazz Sabbath page. Oh, let me see something. Okay, yeah, I think they put out a video of the like cassette tape version of the upcoming Jazz Sabbath album, the 1968 tapes. John C says not finding it on Bandcamp. The Dave Kurzler Genesis thing. Huh. Okay, maybe there's like something that needs to be fixed on the interface there, but I'll go ahead and drop the link for that in the comments right now, since it might be tough to find. So there you go. And speaking of Wakeman men, Rick Wakeman, he provides updates over at rwcc.com. And one of these updates are about a couple of shows. Due to, wait, is this the right one? The right update? Okay. Due to circumstances beyond our control, the show with special guest Al Stewart, scheduled for November 2nd at the Lansdowne Theatre, has been rescheduled for November 3rd at the Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood, New Jersey. Current ticket holders will receive a confirmation email shortly with their transferred tickets for the new show. If you are unable to make the new date, please contact your point of purchase. If you wish to purchase new tickets for the show, they will be on sale this past Thursday, basically. Thank you for your support, and we apologize for any inconvenience. And so, yeah, Rick has some shows coming up in October throughout the U.S., going into early November. And then after that will be the Yuletide Christmas show, November 25th, December 3rd, and December 19th at the London Lyric Theatre, Stoke-on-Trent Victoria Hall, and Cheltenham Town Hall, respectively. And it will also include Adam Wakeman. And yeah, those should be really fun shows. And then it looks like there are some other shows that'll go on from November. Oh wait, is this part of the Christmas show? Okay, there's some other shows going on November 23rd through December 20th in the UK. So, okay, if you go to rwcc.com and click live, you'll be able to see all the shows and info and whatnot. And going to Oliver Wakeman. So Oliver has been posting the making of Anam Cara, these short videos about the process of his latest solo album. So first couple parts are introduced to the band, and they're talking about the songs, and yeah, they're very bite-sized, easily digestible. So go ahead and check those out on his YouTube channel. And Oliver is also on an upcoming release coming out October 11th. I believe I've mentioned this before. It's called The 11th Hour, and it's by the Madrigal Project. Let me just pull up the... wait, do I have this saved? Let's see, the Madrigal Project. Okay, maybe I don't have it saved, but I do remember sharing it a while ago. Let me just double check. Okay, well, you can find it at the madrigalproject.com. Well, I don't know why I'm having difficulty saying that, but includes him and also includes Billy Sherwood. And they released the Madrigal Project released a single a couple weeks ago, and it's this video that includes marbles in it, and it's called what was the single called? I'm trying to... Okay, A Question of Weight and Matter. I knew it had weight in the title, but yeah, it's an interesting video. I wonder if the rest of the album will be like this, or if it'll be kind of varied, maybe eclectic, but I guess people will find out whenever that comes out. All right, and since Tom Brislin is in Kansas, including a Kansas update here, so Billy Greer is, it was announced that he would be done with his duties with Kansas, and they've welcomed Dan McGowan as a bassist and vocalist, and he has been serving as Billy Greer's substitute on stage for numerous shows this year. So, there's a really nice post to talk about Billy's contributions to the band, and yeah, due to the evolution of the band and circumstances and whatnot, they had to make changes, I guess, and it's great that they acknowledge the legacy of the band as they make these changes, and they're starting their third and final leg of their 50th anniversary tour, which has been going on for the last good while. So I kind of wonder what'll happen after all that. Okay, and before we close out, just want to mention Total Mass Retain, the Yes Tribute band. They posted an update regarding their upcoming shows and also a personnel change. Mark Gonzalez is back in the guitarist role because Johnny Bruns has to take care of some health related stuff. So, if you want all the details, go to Total Mass Retain's social media, definitely on their Facebook. And yeah, we wish Johnny the best as he deals with what he needs to deal with. And again, everyone out there, take good care of your health. We wish the best for everyone. All right, so I guess that's basically it for the news. And Yes Music podcast, Kevin Morine is doing a sort of tour of places that are connected to Tales from Topographic Oceans, because his upcoming book, the Tales from Topographic Oceans Listening Guide, is coming up. But yeah, if you go to YMP discussion group, or maybe it's also on the Yes Music Podcast Facebook page, you can find the event, Tales from Topographic Locations, and it looks like he broadcasted a few times, so I'll need to catch up on that. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in, everyone. You can follow Yesshift at Yesshift Podcast. You can email Yesshift via yesshiftpodcast@gmail.com. And you can also follow us at Yesshift on Facebook and YouTube, and just search Yesshift in podcasting apps. And yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and tune into those interviews with Andy Ascalese and John Anderson, and we'll see you all soon.